Hello, my name is Jung Yuan, and I thought I'd do a bit of talking. Now, I've not prepared like a long dialogue, but that's because I know I always like go off script. So here we go. The date is currently the 29th of November 2025, and today I turn 18. Now, a few weeks leading up to this date, I was thinking, how do I celebrate this birthday as best as I can? How can I make sure I make the use of this date, right? And get as much fun in this day as possible. And I felt a lot of pressure, and I was thinking a lot, how am I going to celebrate it? Because I wanted to live up to the 18th, you know? All my friends were doing these sick things, going out for Toby Carvery, holding sick parties. But then when I thought about it, at the essence, spending time with what you want, spending time with the most important thing that you want is all that really matters. So for me, that is God. I was overthinking all this stuff, but then at the end of the day, all that matters is really spending time with God. So I was literally overthinking everything for no reason. And this is why I'm actually on my way to a church in Bournemouth Town Centre called Oratory. And I'm there to visit a very dear friend of mine called Luca, who's guided me in the faith. But most importantly, spend time with God. Because at the end of the day, that's all that really matters. But this wasn't always the case, actually. Before, I wasn't just a non-believer, I was against Christianity. So in year 9, I was one of the biggest degenerates ever. Literally, what I would do is I would go home, right? I would scroll for basically the entire day. I would pretend to have some work out just to appease my mother, and then I would scroll. I would be watching entertainment, anime. I'd be doing the most sinful things, and then I would just call it a day every day, and I felt no meaning from that. But after a while, I hopped into the self improvement thing. Now I don't actually like the phrase self improvement because I feel like it's kind of like normalized as a thing such as like a trend rather than something you use for self-actualization. But at the end of year 10, start of year 11, I started doing self-improvement properly, and I got everything in check. So I got my cold showers, I got my meditation, stretching, learning new skills, disciplines, working out, all of that. It was on check, right? And it was locked in. But for some reason, I then went to school, and I see some of my friends, they do none of that stuff, but they still seemed really fulfilled for some reason. Their smile was really genuine. Their happiness was really genuine as well. And then I looked at the difference. What is there? What is there that's differentiating us? And I realized it's faith and it's God. They didn't have any of the other stuff, but they had God, and that's what brought them. That's what brought them to peace, right? So after a while for self improvement, right, I looked at Christianity and I looked at it. This is pretty bad, but I looked at it as a tool, right? I didn't I saw it as the ideology that could help progress my self improvement further because I already had all the components, and I looked at it as kind of like the glue that brought everything together. So I initially joined Christianity for selfish reasons. I thought that I could use it as a tool to protect me from degeneracy. And although that's true, that was not that's not the main reason now. But yeah, initially I had a really good friend that introduced me to the Bible. He just said, read the start of Matthew, right? And then tell me what you think. And that was all it needed. That was the seed that was planted in me at that time when I needed it the most. Because at that time as well, even though I looked like I was doing really well, workout, uh, face care, meditation, stretching, waking up in the morning early and getting all my work done, I looked good on the outside, right? My family thought I was doing really well as well, but deep down I felt empty, and I was going through some stuff, so much so that I literally ignored my mum starting from a week. I then ignored her for a month, and that turned into a whole year of just me being childish, right? But at the end of that, at that point, at the end of that year, I was introduced to the Bible, and that has truly actually saved my life. It has given me something I can never explain through logic, through words. You can't give it to someone. You can only introduce it to them and let them find it themselves and feel it. And that's what happened to me. So even though I saw it as a tool to protect me from degeneracy. I saw it as something to help me further my self-improvement, because self-improvement, it helps you get the physical that you need, the physique, right? It helps you get the mentality you need, staying strong mentally and disciplined. But the final component is not there. It's your spirit. The physical, mental, and spiritual, it all needs to combine together. But I was missing that one part, and that one part was the most important one, and it came at the end. So I was actually on my way to the oratory, and I thought I'd just talk a bit because, like I said, if you give God a chance, He will truly transform everything. And especially in a world with so much suffering, so much evil, so much hatred, so much contempt, conflict, it's amazing if you can stand up to it all by being truly faithful to God. It's truly amazing, honestly. Now I'm just coming up to it. But if you told me 2 years ago, right, that I'd be doing all of this from my own free will, and I'd be doing it because I want to, then I'll be telling you that you're stupid and you're silly. And I'd laugh at you. Because I wasn't even just neutral. I wasn't open-minded. I was actively against it. So I'd see people with Christianity reading Bibles. Sorry, it's going to get a bit loud because I got some cars coming in. But we've got to get through here to get to oratory. But yeah, I see people literally preaching, right? And I think that's stupid. Absolutely wasting their time, wasting their energy, wasting their breath. But now it's completely different, and it's not even been a year. It's actually completely unreal. God has uprooted my life and changed everything completely. And now that I look back at it, I can kind of tell that He was looking back at me, and He was watching over me this whole time. He was there this whole time. I just didn't know it. So even though those dark times, they were supposed to happen so I could find Him. Even the darkest times, the very, very dark times, they were all supposed to happen so I could find Him eventually. It was all meant to happen. So a few more steps and we're going to be there. And I'll show you the church. It's actually it's gorgeous. It's stunning, honestly. There you go. I think the purpose of this is I want to show the glory of God, not just speak it or preach it. I actually want to show it so people can actually understand. Because saying all the words, there are a lot of people who fake it. They say a lot of stuff, but they don't actually do anything. So I want to do the opposite. Right, we're coming up to the church. I'll show it to you guys, but I'm going to close the camera pretty soon because I want to savor every single moment I have over here with God and with my friend. Right, we're here. So this is the church, absolutely stunning. It's called the Oratory in Bournemouth Town Centre. And we're going to go in to see my mate Luca now. And I pray for you guys that you can find God. Peace be with you.